Hey, ladies and gentlemen, a very, very warm welcome to you to episode number 41 of the Nishkar Sharma Show. Today we have with us Asad Khan, and today we're going to be talking about how Asad has been able to gross more than $50,000 in sales in his Etsy business, all running from India. So, before we talk about anything else, Asad, a very, very warm welcome to you. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. I'm doing great, and it's been a pleasure to um, be here with you on your show. So, thanks for inviting me over here.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, guys, just to give a quick background about Asad, I've known Asad for a long time now, and we've been working together. We worked on multiple projects together, call it Indian Ecom, POD, drop shipping, Indian drop shipping, Etsy, digital Dukandar. There are multiple projects we worked on. So I can voice on everything that he says. He's one of the most beautiful people that I have in my life, and I've seen Asad starting Etsy, the very first sale, from the very first sale to crossing 50K, and he's just killing it. And he has a pretty extensive experience in the overall e-com space, so trust me, this is going to be pretty valuable. He can add, Asad can be talking about multiple business models, but today we're just going to focus on Etsy. So Asad, before we even talk about the technical stuff or ये Etsy काम कैसे करता है or all of that, just give everyone a quick background about who you are. What's your story and how did you get started with ecom and Etsy and all of that.
Okay, so I've been into ecom since 2018. So, I've started my journey when I was in college, and I'm also engineer, BTech engineer, computer science engineer. So, while I was in college, I used to have a YouTube channel with my own name. So, I was having a pretty chill life at that time, playing games and not focusing on studies at all and all that stuff. But when I reached third year in college, things happened, and I realized that okay, I should focus on my professional life also, and I should create my own path where I need to go. So I said, okay, let's try things out, and let's experiment with myself and see like what all things I'm interested in. So first of all, I started with YouTube, and I dropped that option. Then I later on switched to made few bucks from YouTube, and then I switched to e-commerce, and then I focused on creating online stores and all that stuff. I started with journey how to earn money online like everybody does. So learned how to create Shopify store and how to run ads and all that stuff. I networked with many people and learned okay, these are the main things which I should focus on and how to create a store and all that stuff. And then I started my own store. So back then, I started my own store, and I was trying influencer marketing at that time. So I spoke to around 20 to 25 influencers at that time, and all were having at least 1 million following, and with at least 4 to 5% engagement rate. So at that time, I didn't have much money to invest in influencer marketing and all that stuff. So what I did was I reached out to them and I said, let's do a profit sharing with this post. And so I still remember I used to post at least 30 40 DMs to multiple pages, and that's how I secured few pages to promote my products. From there, made few bucks on my online store also, and then I switched to trading. So I invested all that amount, and no, before trading I also did consulting and taught people how to create your own store online, and how to create Shopify stores, and how to do drop shipping and all that stuff. Saved that money, and I invested all of that money into trading, and lost everything. I still remember I was having couple thousand rupees. That's pretty much it. And I was there and thinking like, what should I do now? I don't have anything right now, and what will I do? So then I thought I should find a mentor to you know uh, learn things and go bigger with those things. So I found you, and I still remember I was there in your company to for a support intern, I guess. So I applied and I got selected, and since then I'm just doing whatever I love doing in the company, and it's been pleasure working with you guys. So I started with support in DD, and after that we did Facebook ads and for international drop shipping, and then Indian drop shipping and managing ads and all that stuff. Indian fulfillment also, and finally Etsy. So that's the whole journey of mine.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. I of course it's been a pretty beautiful journey since I remember the first time when we met, and till this point on, it's been so pretty good. We've actually, grown so much together.
Yeah,
So absolutely, I'm really grateful to have you in my life.
same.
And talking about Etsy, so yeah, so thank you. Talking about Etsy, tell me that how did all of this start? How did you get started with Etsy? How did you get to know about it? And what made you, ponder? What made you actually get into it? And what all did you learn? How was it before you actually uploaded the very first product on Etsy? How was it?
So it was like we were having a conversation, I still remember, in the office, and you said, let's try out Etsy also. Like um, many people are selling on Etsy also. We should give it a try. And then I said, okay, let's do it. And I started researching about Etsy and the business model and how it goes. And then I network with a lot of people and talk with them about Etsy, and trying to get to know things like what all things are important in Etsy business, in building an Etsy business. And then uh, since then we are just growing and growing and growing. um, that's the pretty like for me it's networking with a lot of stuff, and you showed me the way, like we should give it a shot on Etsy, and that's pretty much it.
Now don't be modest. Of course, I remember having that conversation that we should definitely give this a shot. But then everything that's been done on Etsy has been done by you. I just maybe guided you a little bit. But then I remember when all the research and all the work that you put in, right? So again, how did what all how was it before you actually got started? Like, how did it feel when you were getting into it, and where did you learn all of this stuff? Because none of us knew anything about it, and now we've done almost 50k plus in sales, and now we've also started another Etsy store, right? So how did all of this start on the level of implementation and the level of operations?
So first of all, I had to learn what all things are going on in Etsy, and I had to find few reputable sellers who are doing pretty good numbers. So we researched a lot for Etsy sellers, like who all are those Etsy sellers who are crushing Etsy market and all that stuff. Then I found few people and spoke with them about how this business model works on Etsy, like what all things we should focus on. Like it is totally opposite from the drop shipping what we usually do. So on Etsy, it's all about your products and customer service you are providing to your customers, and you can survive on Etsy only if your products and your customer service and all these things are top notch, because Etsy
Okay, so
prefers
you mentioned
only.
that you started
Yeah,
yeah, I'm sorry for that, but you mentioned that you started reaching out to people and having conversations with top sellers.
right.
So, and I know that you do that a lot. You talk to so many people on Facebook, on Instagram, who are really killing it in their spaces. So, what is your strategy and what is your approach to actually get in touch with these people? How do you find these people? and then how do you manage to talk to them and actually get a reply from them and learning from them? What's your strategy for that?
So usually start with Google and search on Google like about Etsy. Let's suppose we are starting a Etsy print on demand business, right? So I'll search on YouTube, Google Etsy print on demand sellers, and I'll gather some threads and read about few sellers, like if they are getting mentioned in those threads. And then I'll go to YouTube also, and I'll search same thing on YouTube, and I'll gather information about sellers and watch few videos of those sellers who are killing it and are providing uh, like legit knowledge. There are a few YouTubers who usually provide basic stuff, and there are many YouTubers who are, you just feel that like they are sharing all these things like in a very transparent manner. So from there I start googling, DMing them to on their Instagram handles, and then I approach them like, hey, I'm also starting out on my Etsy store, and I would love to know about all these things, and I have few doubts regarding these things. Can you please let me know about these questions? And I'll just simply ask them like, these are the things which I wanted to know. And um, that's how I start. And then I there is a suggested tab in on Instagram also, like you can even see what all suggested accounts are with that specific account. So from there I used to search different accounts of those Etsy sellers and all that stuff. That's how I start. And then finding out those who are killing it, for that thing I think I don't know how. I just search on Instagram, and like I DM a lot of people. I DM a lot of people like, how you are doing. I'm really amazed with your results and all that stuff. And follow them and see what's their journey and all that stuff. So they do mention other people also, like they helped us, and if you want, you can check them out also. And then I go to that profile and search about them and all that stuff. So that's how I network with a lot of people.
So your strategy is one, you're gonna, so for Etsy sellers, you would just Google it and you would figure out what people are doing, what the best people are doing. It's like finding best selling products and best sellers on these platforms. That's fine. And two, you find people on Instagram, let's say, using the main keywords,
Right.
hashtags, and you DM a lot of them, and then you keep following up with them, or maybe when they reply to you, you ask them questions, and maybe out of 100 people that you reach out to, maybe even if 10 people get back to you, or even if 3 people who are doing really good are able to share value, like it's been a successful effort. So yeah, that absolutely makes sense. Now with Etsy, now let's say someone who's just starting out and someone wants to be building a business, so how should they begin? Of course they're gonna build their Etsy account and stuff, they're gonna do that, but on the level of research, what kind of products do you think, what kind of designs do you think they should be selling? What would you like to recommend to everyone who's just starting out with Etsy or wants to start out with Etsy?
All right. So there are two types of products according to me. For first is seasonal, and second is gifting. So obviously for seasonal, people will come season after seasons, and for gifting, it's really popular for holidays. Say for example, people shopping for gifts like Christmas or Mother's Day or Father's Day. So if you are selling an item or t-shirt related to Father's Day or Mother's Day, that is easily giftable. So you'll definitely optimize it for return customers also. So it also increases your returning rate, as in for gifting niche. So I would suggest people to start off with gifting products. So niches like Father's Day, or even Mother's Day, Christmas, and stuff like that, Halloween, birthdays. Yeah.
Okay, so any product that can be gifted to people, let's say a T-shirt which is being gifted by a mom to her son. As simple as that. So yeah, and that's right. That's absolutely correct. It's the same with Facebook as well. So we've seen that products or designs that people can give to each other, especially during events that show up, they usually do really well. So I totally agree to that. And then let's say that they figure out that okay, fine, I'm going to be doing this. Then how do they do the research? Like how do they find those designs that they want to be selling? How do they really get design inspiration for their designs?
So what I personally do is, let's suppose I'm into Father's Day niche. So I'll search on Etsy Father's Day t-shirts, and look out on the first page like what all t-shirts are being sold at this moment, and the listings which are shown on first page are the ones which are getting consistent sales and are top listings. So probably a first page will have many winning designs of that niche. So you should always go with first page and search out like what all type of t-shirts are selling on Etsy and sellers are selling. So open up all then I would look out for reviews, the amount of reviews a shop is having, and then recent images of those reviews. So what I do is, because many shops are having thousands and thousands of listings, so we don't know which T-shirt is selling constantly, because top sellers usually hide their number of sales where we cannot see what all T-shirts are being sold off. So what I do is I open up the review section and I sort those reviews in a recent manner, and then I see what all T-shirts are getting sold, like images posted by customers. If it's I'm observing like um, images with fathers designs, constant same design keeps on coming every after every second image or third image or even first image, then that design is a winning design, and he's making a lot of money with that design. So I'll right away select that design and I'll reach out to a designer, and I'll ask him to create something similar with that design, and I'll then create a listing for that design.
That's nice. That's pretty good. So now you mentioned that you're going to create a listing of that design. Now, what is your strategy in terms of listing? So, what all things should one be doing to get sales on Etsy? So of course I just know the basics. Like in SEO, you optimize the keywords and the titles and descriptions and your photos. So in your experience, what are the kind of things that people should be doing to actually start getting sales after the research part and after the uploading?
All right. So there are many things which you need to make sure you are doing perfect. First of all, once you search Father's Day T-shirts, and that first page appears, you should notice there is a specific patterns of mockups being used in those listings. So you should try to figure out like what's that main thing which every second or third seller on the first page is using in that mockup. Maybe it's the same t-shirt color, or maybe same background, or maybe same type of mockup. So figure out that thing and try to find a unique mockup which resembles with that thing. After that, you should always use there are many tools like Eliora and eRank to research on listings and find keywords and tags. So we personally use eRank, and in eRank we can even research like what all are top keywords and tags being used with that specific keyword which you are using. Say for example Father's Day, so it will show you like what all top specific tags you can use with that type of keyword. So we use eRank, and even in eRank you can see tags being used by top sellers. So what all tags and keywords and keywords they are using in their listing. So you should never copy exactly the same tags and keywords. Sorry. Instead, you should always focus on creating your own special listing. So pick few tags from those top listings, and then try to research on your own through Google Trends. Like, if you are a customer, like, what will you search? So let's suppose, you search Father's Day t-shirt, or t-shirt for that dad, and stuff like that. So you are coming up with many keywords, if you think like that. So always approach in different ways, and then try to find out common tags being displayed in on E-Rank. So that's how we do. uh, that's pretty much it. And also use description, I mean, use keywords in your description also. It will help boost your listing a lot. Hmm.
Okay. And to get inspiration on the description, people can simply just maybe check out how the competitors are doing it,
Right.
and based on that they could model it.
Good morning.
But they shouldn't. But people shouldn't copy anyone else's titles or descriptions, right? Like, how's your experience been with that?
Right, exactly. Because
Mhm.
even Etsy says that, like, if you copy, like, totally, let's say you copied the listing which was performing pretty great, and it was listed on the first page. So your listing will not get any benefit, because Etsy already knows in the back end, like, you already copied those tags and exact things. So they will instead, you can say, shadow ban you. So your listing will not appear on those pages. So it's pretty much dead listing.
Okay, got it. So people could simply just rewrite it, or maybe hire someone
Right,
to rewrite those descriptions and keywords for them.
right,
That's
right.
nice.
So
Now tell me
actually,
something that, of course, yeah, go on.
Etsy works on two phases. So first is query matching, and second is ranking. So what query matching is, basically where customer will go on and type in whatever he or she is looking for, and Etsy will scan whatever that that person looking for in the database, with all the tags and titles to match that query, or the search that customer typed in. So the way it brings those results is from the tags and attributes you have to type in, and it tries to make the closest match as possible. So first thing is, I would recommend it to everyone. Like, first thing is that you should always use those 13 tags which Etsy asks you to fill in. And title should be good, and also want to make sure that your category is filled in. So there are specific categories, like either you are selling t-shirt or candles or masks. So you should always fill in your category. And then after query matching, ranking comes in play. So this comes after query matching. So there are seven factors in ranking. So first is relevancy. So how relevant your product listing is with respect to what customer has searched. So that's the thing you should make sure of. Like, you should always include category, and in title also, like what sort of thing you are promoting. And second is listing quality score. So each listing has its own unique quality score. So Etsy gives this score based on how well that listing converts. So which means that what is the percentage of times the customer clicks on the listing and completes the transaction. So the higher the percentage is, the higher quality score will, and therefore higher up in the search results. So Etsy states that the brand new listing also gets a very short temporary boost. So the moment you create your listing, it will have a short boost, maybe from hours to a day. After that, it will determine, okay, according to this boost, we've got this much response on this listing, so we will assign this specific quality score for this listing. So that's how they allot quality score for a listing. Third is recency. It means how recently your item is listed. So the frequently you list your items on Etsy, the better it is. But it should not be overdone, like you are just for the sake of uploading listings consistently. You are constantly uploading listings every day and every day. So you should be constant, but it should not be like spamming. And fourth is customer and market experience score. So even Etsy has said that they will give a higher score to those who do fill out about section and privacy policies. So you should always, after setting your shop, always fill out your about us page, where you explain your story, like from where are you, where have you started, and how you started this business, and who all are working in this shop, and introduce them in your about section, and update your privacy policies. So it will automatically boost your score. After that, shipping. Obviously, shipping, Etsy favors to those listings which offer free shipping. So even Etsy says that if you are offering free shipping, and offer free shipping, and you will be getting a priority in Etsy search. So let's say if we are having same listing and I'm offering free shipping, and you are charging 3.95 or X amount of fees, so I will be having a little boost over your listing. So that thing you should always keep in mind. And after that, translations and languages. One should not have different one should not select different language on while setting up a store, and then use different language while creating a listing. So Etsy translate those listings for you automatically, so you don't have to do this. It will only hit you back if you use multiple languages in a store. And last is shopper habits. So Etsy uses content specific ranking, which they say, so where they will show listings which the customer will be most likely to purchase based on their history. So don't look for your listings on your own, as Etsy will obviously show you your own listings if you search it on Etsy. So it's not accurate. Instead, use analytics like eRank, or Google, stuff like that, or Eliora, such tools to know like where your listing stands and how you can improve that thing. So that's the thing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's nice. You actually have these pointers ready, and that's like, it's like a cheat sheet for everyone to succeed.
Right.
But let's assume that I'm a noob and I'm just going to be starting with Etsy. So, as per what you're sharing with me, first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a niche. I'm going to focus on a niche, let's say, and let's say I think that I want to sell t-shirts for mothers. So, I'm going to go to Etsy and I'm going to search for mom t-shirts or mom gifts, and then I'm going to go to the listings that are like that have the most reviews or that are showing up on the top. I'll go to their profile, I'll go to the reviews, and I'll see the recent reviews. And in the recent reviews, when people leave reviews, Etsy also shows you the product that person bought and is leaving a review for. So I'm going to see that what kind of designs or products are selling for that particular seller. I'm going to take inspiration from there. I'm going to get something similar and better created. I'm going to upload it on my own Etsy shop. Now, which print providers are you using for Etsy? I mean, fulfillment
So
partners?
we are using Printify, and
Printify.
there are other fulfillment providers also. For example, Printful, but they are expensive, and Printify is much cheaper, and they provide pretty good service. So we are happy with them. So that's why we are using them.
Got it. Yeah, that's awesome. So okay, you're using Printify. So yeah, I'm gonna connect my Etsy shop to Printify. I'm gonna upload the listing. Now on the level of SEO, what I'm gonna do is I want to ensure that my the kind of keywords that people would enter to search my product. Yeah, if I think from a customer's perspective, I want to think that what kind of things would people search for to get to my product. So I'm gonna reverse engineer. I'm gonna add that in my keywords. I'm gonna have a good description. I can take description inspiration from my competitors, but
Right.
I'm not gonna copy anyone. I'm gonna ensure that my keywords are there in the description as well. I'm gonna ensure that I add my product to the right category. Then on my profile, I'm gonna add an about us just to share that who I am, what we do, where do we ship from, and all of that. Maybe some pictures if we can of the production facility, if we can get it from Printify, let's say. That's something that I'm going to do. I would not do any language translations just to get more search queries. That's what you shared, and you also shared that you shouldn't just go to your own listings and keep clicking on them and keep and you mean don't try to make a fool of Etsy by
Right.
going and placing multiple orders yourself, or let's say leaving reviews yourself, or let's say liking your own stuff and stuff. That's what you meant, right?
Right. Yeah. And also,
Hmm.
like usually people what usually do is when they create a new store, they simply open a new tab and just go to Etsy.com and search same listing title to see like if
Yeah.
the listing is coming up on first page or not. So if they do this to know like is the listing is coming on the first page, or Etsy will
Hmm.
obviously show your listing to you because you, that's the same hardware you are using on your like internet and all that stuff, so it will show you your listing. And so they'll not show you like top listings, and you there's no point in searching with your own laptop and seeing if this listing is working or not. Instead use analytics tools. Yeah.
Got that. That's interesting. That's pretty nice and simple. And simplicity is sexy. Simplicity sells. That's nice. Now, what are the different kind of products that we can sell on Etsy? Now, I know that all the 50K that we've done that's come from t-shirts. But apart from t-shirts, what other products are you seeing that are trending or that other people are selling? Especially that people listening to the show can also consider selling when they get started.
So there are many products. You can even try selling necklaces or bands and canvases and mugs. So even leggings. So whatever you want to, you can. And personally, I've been seeing many people selling necklaces and getting success with those things. So you can even jump in and test out these necklaces or pendants and test it out. And for fulfillment, you can use Shine On. So Shine On will fulfill your orders.
All right, all right. So, okay, necklaces, let's say from Shine On, definitely. T-shirts are like t-shirts have been a personal favorite as well. We've been selling them. In fact, all the sales that we've had on Etsy have pretty much come from t-shirts. So, definitely. Um, Now, I've been hearing about people drop shipping on Etsy. So, wherein people create listings from China. I mean, they create listings and they plan to ship products from China. What is your opinion on that? What is your advice on that? That is that a good way? Is that a profitable way? Should people be doing that? I mean, treating Etsy, using Etsy for drop shipping.
So to be honest, Etsy is a marketplace for creators. So they don't like people drop shipping on Etsy. So for example,
Hmm.
there are many sellers who are doing physical drop shipping, normal drop shipping, which we do on Shopify. But sooner or later, Etsy bans such accounts permanently, because Etsy wants your story, like it should be your brand and like
Hmm.
what thought you are presenting in front of your customers. So that's what matters. And if that same product is being sold by hundreds and hundreds of sellers on the marketplace, Etsy will for me personally, I've been in touch with many people. even they said it. They said the same thing. You should not, drop ship these physical products on Etsy.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Now, now one thing's clear that we're going to be using Printify, let's say. Now, what kind of what kind of problems are usually faced by the customers, and how do you deal with them? You know, do they email you? Does it happen within the platform? Like, how does the overall customer support part works?
So actually, we have, conversation with our customers on Etsy itself. There's a message section where even if a customer drops you an email, it will be popped in your messages section, and you can read whatever the query is. So we usually reply to all queries through messages center, and they so for we usually don't get any, complaint or stuff like that, because we are upfront with all, shipping times and processing times. And if there is a, problem with order, say for example the print is not up to the mark, or the quality is not good, we'll ask them to share images of the product, and then we'll share same images with Printify support team. So Printify support team sees that image, and they share that image with print provider they were using, and they will ship another tee for free. So customer gets a new replacement for free of charge, and he or she gets to keep his old order also. So that's what we do, and we let them know, like, sorry for the, bad experience you had, and to, um, rectify this mistake, we are of shipping you a free of charge replacement of this tea, and it will be delivered until this time period, and that's pretty much it. Or if usually customer agrees with that thing, if a customer, is not that type of person who understands this thing, he or she simply asks for refund. We initiate refund to those customers. We don't, fight with them or try to um, get them to the same page where we are shipping those products to, maintain our profit margin. We just simply refund them, because there's no point. If you don't agree with them, they'll create a case on Etsy, and Etsy will, deduct that amount from your account automatically, and they'll give charge back to the customer.
Okay. And how does the fulfillment part work here? So is it automated? Like when you get an order, Printify automatically fulfills it, and when they ship it, they share the tracking information with the customer automatically. Is that
Right.
how it works?
So, yeah, once Printify is integrated, it's all automated. You can manually also submit orders, and after, whatever option you have selected, after let's say 24 hours, uh, um, after 24 hours, all orders will be submitted, and they will be in production. And as specified with from the print provider, they will be dispatched in 2 to 3 days or whatever it is. So yeah, it's all automated.
Okay. Okay. Nice. And what if any one of these products goes out of stock? How do you deal with that? Like, let's say you selected Gildan 5000 on Printify and it's out of stock. How do you deal with that then?
um, we we have enabled order routing in Printify. So what it does is, it automatically detects, like, for example, let's suppose customer ordered 5XL, and from
Hmm.
the print provider which we were using for that listing is having no stock for 5XL. So Printify will automatically exchange that print provider with another one which is having 5XL with them. So we have to, give them a, our budget allocation for that
Okay.
routing also. So like,
Mhm.
how much can we afford to lose out if that size is available to with someone else, and that is a little
Hmm.
expensive. So we usually give our $2 to $3 upfront. So even if that order is $2 expensive, it automatically syncs with another print provider and fulfills it.
Okay, that's nice. Now, tell me something that let's say that we want to be someone's just starting out, and we already discussed about the research part and the uploading part and the SEO part. What would be an ideal plan of action for someone who's starting out? Like, what kind of things they should be doing in week one, week two, week three, week four on a daily basis? So, what is your recommended action plan for someone who wants to start the Etsy business?
So I would suggest him or her to first of all jot down all the niches you are researching, and then collect all those screenshots which you think might are getting constantly new number of sales to those shops, and then get those designs created afterwards. So for week one, he or she should focus on collecting or on researching everything like designs and top shops with that niches, and what type of designs are they pushing out and stuff like that, and reviews. Keep an eye on the reviews, what sort of reviews are they getting, and you usually what type of design are they selling and what's working for them, and then just try to replicate that whole thing to your shop.
Okay. And on the level of, let's say, frequency and consistency, how many designs should people be uploading? Like, what do you recommend for that?
So there's no specific number, but at least you should test out 100 to 200 listings. So you should not all at once publish all those listings. Instead,
Mm-hmm.
on uploading those listings constantly over a specific period of time. So let's suppose you have uploaded 2 listings today, then test out like if you are getting reach on those listings, then test out 2 more listings maybe after 2 to 3 days, and then increase that pace along with the time, like later on uh, after each week.
Okay, okay. So it's all about consistency, right? I
Right.
mean, people shouldn't just upload hundreds of designs at one go and start expecting sales. They should rather spread it out in a couple
Right.
of days or a couple of weeks or months. Okay, nice. Now, when it comes to uploading, so Etsy is not free, right? How much do we pay to Etsy for uploading this stuff? Like, how does that work?
So for uploading, Etsy charges 20 cents, and so
That's
once
per
you,
listing.
yeah, per listing. So once you receive an order for that listing, it automatically renews that listing, and it charges you 20 cents again.
Hmm. So 20 cents is charged when the order. I mean, when we receive an order, right?
Right, and even when we create a listing, so for if we are creating that
Okay.
listing, they'll charge 20 cents for 4 months,
Hmm.
and then
Hmm.
if you got an order
Got it.
within that time period, they'll charge 20 cents again to renew that listing.
Is there any other fees that these guys charge? Like apart from the listing fee and let's say the 20-cent commission on every sale, do they charge something else as well?
So they do charge transaction fees and PayPal transaction fees. So for Indians, there's only one way you can open up a Etsy shop through, which is through PayPal. So you have to link PayPal. So recently I've been getting a lot of messages also, like the shop is getting banned and suspended, and there is no other
Mm-hmm.
option
Mm-hmm.
apart from PayPal. So yeah, that's the truth. Like you cannot have multiple options like Etsy's own
Mm-hmm.
account for balance and all that stuff. For Indians, we can use only PayPal, and for bans, there are multiple things which you can do. If your account is banned, then you can contact Etsy support team through support@etsy.com, or you can use integrity@etsy.com. So these are both email IDs through which you can approach Etsy team after your account is banned. They'll remove the restriction and have it restored. So recently, Etsy's been they are banning all recent shops. So the moment you open a shop, it will automatically get banned. So out of 100 Indian shops, majority of them are getting banned. So what they specify is, they say we have automated system in place to protect the safety and security of the Etsy marketplace. These systems are monitored by Etsy employees, but occasionally shops operating within our policies may be caught up in them. So we are always working to improve the accuracy and of these systems to make sure that this is a rare occurrence. We weren't able to share any further details, but if this reoccurs in the future, please reach out to us to at integrity@etsy.com so that we can resolve it as quickly as possible. So
Okay. So,
yeah,
but then, I mean, it's like Facebook, when you start advertising on Facebook, Facebook will definitely, for
right.
most people, they ban the account for no odd reason. So maybe they just want to ensure that legit people are actually building businesses on their platform like Facebook does. So
Right.
yeah, that makes sense. I can align with that as well.
There's
And
one
you
more
you
thing.
already mentioned.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
one more thing I would
Go
like
on.
to share.
Hmm.
Like where a shop was not closed, but you could not find that shop on Etsy search, even if the shop was open. It will work if you open it with direct link, and not even a single listing was indexed on Etsy. So this happened with someone I know, and he was having his shop, and we could not even search his listings, and those were gone from Etsy database, and we can only access those shops through their own shop links. So in this case, you had to reach out to Etsy support, and what they did is, they transferred that case to the engineering team, and they did some manual work over there, and it was then resolved. So yeah, this thing can happen, and if it does, then just reach out to them.
So when, let's say, someone builds an account on Etsy and their account gets disabled, what should they email to support or integrity Etsy? Like, what all should we say to them to get the account back?
So to be honest, if the account is banned while you were creating your shop, or even after publishing your first listing, it's all automated. So you can just simply reach out to them and let them know, like, you just created your store, and you haven't done any you haven't violated any policy of Etsy. So please look out, and let us know as soon as possible. We are sure we haven't violated any policies. So yeah, they'll
Yeah, again, like we do on Facebook when the ad account gets banned, all the Rona Dhona and saying that we are 100% confident we've not violated anything. So yeah, I can relate to that as well. That's pretty nice. So Asad, you know what? In the last 40, 50 odd minutes, you've shared so much value. I think so, from research to branding on Etsy to the keyword part to fulfillment to providing support to, yeah, I think there's just one thing that we haven't spoken about, and that's about ads.
Hmm.
So how do Etsy ads work, and when do you think people should start running ads on Etsy? Like, what do you think?
So for Etsy ads, I would not suggest you to run start away from the beginning. First of all, try to find your winning traffic source. So once you publish listings, you will have visits on your listings, and you will have views on your listings. So focus on getting those views and listings, because there are many shops sitting around on Etsy, and they're not having any views or clicks on their listings, and they are just wasting their money on Etsy ad. So there's no point in promoting a dead listing. So you should first focus on uh, you know um, working with your own listing and keywords. Try to find that specific like traffic which you will be, like you will be using for different designs also for later on. So once you have that listing where you are getting more say I mean visits and clicks, then start promoting those listings. So start off with $5 a day, and you can increase it gradually. Just increase it $5 with $2 an increment per increment. So let's suppose you are running $5 a day for at least 2 weeks. You should at least run with the same budget for at least 2 weeks, and then monitor your result, like if you are profitable or not. And if not, then decrease the budget or turn it off, and if you are profitable, then increase the budget.
Nice. That's pretty good. So what you're saying is that first people should just get some traction, have some listings, getting clicks and most probably reviews,
Right.
so that people can trust their shops, and then they should start very small with like $5 a day.
Mm.
And when they spend $5 a day, so Etsy ads are not complicated. You just dedicate a budget when you go to Etsy marketing and ads. You dedicate a budget, and this budget is spread across all your listings. So whenever someone searches for the right keyword, and you have a listing about that, based on the optimization and ton of the factors, they're gonna show your ads in there, and you pay money for the ads when you get impressions
Right.
and clicks and all of that.
Right.
So
So
yeah.
yeah, gain some momentum first, and then use that momentum for advertising also. So for example, your winning listing should be having favorites, having sales,
Okay.
and good reviews. So if you have these three things, Etsy will automatically boost those listings higher on the page. So this helps in building up quality score for Etsy. And also you should focus on pricing your product. So it should not be too low or too high. So ensure it is having a balance, so that you also make a healthy amount of profit with that listing.
Interesting. Nice. And
And
how does
one more thing,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
sorry, I'm interrupting you. One more thing, offer
It's okay.
customizations on your shop. So this has been a huge part in our shop also. So we offer customizations, and you can leverage that as an opportunity to increase your profit margins. So what we did was, people used to approach us like, hey, we love this design and we wanted to create this design, like we want to create a design something similar to that, and want to add our name or any specific word. So what we used to do, what we still do, is we say them, okay, we can do that, but since it is a special requirement, and our whole production team and our whole design team will be working on this only design, the price will be increased, and then we offer them what we think should be appropriate for these. For us, it was like, let's suppose if we are selling for 19.95, we would ask them to for 29.99, and out of 10 out of 10, 9 people would say yes. One people
Oh,
would be little bit cautious with the amount we ask
yeah.
them. And so what we do with that user also, we ask them, hey, since you are a new customer to our shop, and so we can offer you a discount of $5, so it will be 24.99. So let us know if you are interested. And he or she pretty much agrees with that pricing, and we just create
Okay.
an order. Yeah, so we create a
Yeah,
custom
that's nice.
yeah.
Okay, and when it comes to pricing, how would you recommend the people to price their products? How do they identify that?
So we are selling our teas for $19.95 and
Hmm.
up
Hmm.
to like large, and after that
Hmm.
we increment a dollar for each increase in size variant.
Okay. Hmm. And let's say if someone wants to be selling some other product like a mug, so what should be a rule of thumb to identify, the perfect pricing for a product that you're selling? Because there are gonna be people who are selling it for really cheap, then there are gonna be people selling
Right.
it for really high.
Right.
But then, what do you think would be a rule of thumb for pricing?
I would suggest them to research on Etsy itself, like how
Hmm.
like majority of the people are selling for, like what that product is getting sold for, and then price your mug specifically,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
considering your profit margin also. So it should be not like a dollar or two. It should be somewhere a pretty good amount of margin you are securing. So it should be not too high and not too low, and just test it out.
Okay.
If you think you are getting
Hmm.
more attraction, you more clicks and more visits, try test out increasing that amount, and then see if the traffic behaves the same, or like you have um, dropped visits drastically. So change things accordingly.
Okay. Got it. That's nice. Which also reminds me that what kind of margins have we had in the business, and what kind of profit margins do we see on
So
average
we,
after
we
removing everything?
yeah, we after removing everything, we have 20 to 25% margins. So yeah.
Nice. That's good. Yeah, that's pretty decent.
Mm.
Awesome. I think so. This is pretty insightful. We've pretty much spoken about everything, and everyone, you guys could just start taking action. There's nothing that Asad's left. There's nothing that I've not asked him. So I think it's pretty good, Asad. It's been lovely to have you. Thanks so much for your time. And before we even end this, what is that? What is that one thing that you would like to suggest or you would like to advise to everyone who's listening? What is that one thing that you would like to say to them, or anything else that you want to add?
Uh, uh, I would like to say, like, be consistent with your actions, and just trust the process. You will find that thing which you are looking for, and just trust the process. Like you say, it
Hmm.
will be all worth it in the end.
Hmm. Correct. That's nice. Awesome. Yeah, it's always true. It's true in all businesses, no matter what you do. Not just businesses, no matter what you want to achieve, there is a specific process that needs to be followed. But why most people are not able to get successful is because they get bored of doing the same set of things again and again.
Hmm.
And one of my mentors used to say to me that, Nishkarsh, become good at being bored. So become good at being bored and become good at following and doing mundane and boring tasks, because everything that you do in your business is not really going to be very exciting and very enjoyable, but it has to be done. So yeah, I really align with that as well. Asad, it's really been a pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks for sharing everything with so much transparency. It's so nice, and I'm sure everyone's gonna love it. Everyone's definitely gonna love it. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to have you on the episode. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, sir. It's been a pleasure for me too, and I'm really thankful and grateful to being a part, of DD and connected with you. It's been a great journey, and I wish this journey stays like this only. Yeah.
Yeah.